Think of the most lucrative names in global football: Manchester United, Real Madrid, the Premier League, Nike, Adidas. The governing body of the sport owns absolutely none of them. They do not manufacture the boots the players wear. They do not own the stadiums where the games are played, and they do not pay the multi-million-dollar salaries of the athletes on the pitch. Yet between 2023 and 2026, this Swiss-based organization projects an astounding $11 billion in revenue. If they control almost none of the physical assets we associate with a major sports business, who exactly is writing them these massive checks? The answer lies in their actual role. They do not sell the physical game of football. They act as a platform broker, commercializing access to the largest, most concentrated audience in human history. To see how this works in practice, we can isolate a single 90-minute World Cup match. In that brief window, FIFA executes a strategy of multi-layer monetization, selling the exact same event to several entirely different buyers at once. This node map shows the match connecting to a global audience, which broadcasters buy access to, earning over $1 billion. Next, a new branch appears. Global brands bypass broadcasters, paying directly. This marketing layer brings in another $1 billion. You can see this value extraction happening physically on the pitch. Notice the McDonald's digital sideline advertisement positioned squarely behind the international media photographers. That is prime real estate designed specifically for corporate brand association. At the same time, the stadium audience is divided into two revenue models. General admission tickets capture everyday fans, while corporate entities pay exponentially more for luxury hospitality suites, turning the match into a high-end networking asset. From one single patch of grass over an hour and a half, value flows simultaneously from television networks, major global sponsors, regular ticket holders, and premium corporate clients. There is an additional layer attached to the brand's intellectual property. Third-party manufacturers pay licensing fees to stamp official logos onto their products, allowing the organization to collect nearly $100 million from global retail sales without operating a single factory. But the astronomical price tags attached to all of these commercial rights rely on a tightly controlled economic variable: scarcity. The primary product only enters the market once every 4 years. This scarcity enforces an extreme financial rhythm. A 4-year timeline chart reveals flat revenue for 3 years, followed by a massive spike in year 4. To survive that gap, a cash reserves buffer is highlighted spanning its first 3 years. The entire 4-year financial cycle revolves around this single, highly restricted asset. By keeping the tournament rare, the governing body artificially inflates the price of every media contract, sponsorship deal, and stadium ticket they sell. Given that aggressive commercial strategy, you might expect massive dividends paid out to private shareholders. But legally, FIFA is registered in Switzerland as a non-profit association. This circular flywheel diagram illustrates where the money actually goes. The $2.7 billion generated in 2025 is pumped back into global football investment. Better competition breeds more fans, increasing media value, and eventually creating more commercial revenue to restart the cycle. Zooming in on the investment segment, these funds are distributed worldwide, building youth academies, training referees, and fueling the FIFA Forward program for infrastructure in developing nations. To fulfill a mandate of developing the sport globally, they must first operate an incredibly aggressive commercial machine. The nonprofit mission is entirely dependent on maximizing B2B revenue. However, relying on a single major event every 48 months leaves the organization highly vulnerable to global shocks and economic downturns. To mitigate that risk, they are expanding their physical inventory. The 2026 World Cup stretches across 3 North American markets and expands to 48 teams, creating significantly more matches to sell to broadcasters and sponsors. They are also manufacturing new premium intellectual property. The expanded 32-team Club World Cup is designed to generate reliable cash flow during the long, dry periods of the 4-year cycle. But adding more matches requires a delicate balance. If they flood the market with too much football, they risk oversaturation, threatening the exact scarcity that makes their media rights so valuable in the first place. Ultimately, the mechanics of modern football show that you don't need to own the teams or the stadiums to dominate the market. If you build an unavoidable global platform, you can monetize the entire commercial ecosystem surrounding it.